This is a newer version of the course I uploaded a couple of years ago. It has over 1 million views, but what surprised me more was the amazing results people shared. For most of them, it was their very first 3D project. If you're wondering whether this tutorial will be too difficult to follow, just take a look at what other beginners like you have created. The common thread in all those renders isn't perfection. It's that every single one of them finished the project and had the courage to share it with the world. And the best thing, it's not AI art. So when you share your work on socials, you'll feel proud and not guilty. So without further ado, let's get started. First, go to Edit menu above and select Preferences. Under the Interface tab, increase the resolution scale so everything is easier to see. And in the bottom left, Autosave is on, so you may directly close this window. To select objects in the scene, you click the left mouse button on it. And to deselect them, you click anywhere outside the object. If you hold down Shift key, you can select multiple objects. You can also simply drag over the objects to select. If you click and drag this magnifying glass button, you can zoom in or out. Shortcut for this is Control plus middle mouse button. Clicking and dragging the hand icon will move the viewport. Shortcut is Shift plus middle mouse button. And click and drag over the gizmo area will orbit the viewport. If you click on the colorful buttons, you can switch to different views like right, front, top, etc. This can also be done by pressing tilde key. It's that squiggly one under the Escape key and above the Tab key. And then select any view you need with left click. I'll be using tilde key throughout the course, so the gizmos can go take a nap. To do that, go to Edit, Preferences, and under Viewport tab, change the axes from interactive to simple. Go to this drop-down and enable Move tool. With this enabled, you can move the object as you might have guessed. Blue for moving on Z-axis, red for X-axis, and green for Y-axis. White circle to move freely. You can also use shortcut G to move objects. Then R to rotate objects. And if you press R, then pressing X will rotate it on X-axis. Pressing Y after will rotate it on Y-axis. And Z will rotate it on Z-axis. Similarly, you can use S for scaling the object, S then X for scaling on X-axis, S and Y for Y-axis, S and Z for scaling on Z-axis. Now drag over the objects to select them all. Right-click on the mouse and select Delete to delete them. X is the shortcut. Blender's interface is made up of different editors. Each editor has a unique purpose and can be swapped or resized to fit your workflow. First is the 3D viewport. It's where you will model, move, and interact with the 3D objects. Then there is Outliner, which is useful for scene organization. Properties editor, which lets you adjust settings for the selected object, like its materials. And lastly, we have Timeline editor, which is for animation. Right now we are in first frame. If you press spacebar, it will play the animation. The reason I am telling you this is because spacebar is the largest key on your keyboard, and it's very likely you might press it accidentally while pressing other keys. And it's not ideal to model when animation is running. It will slow down the performance. So to stop the animation, you can press spacebar again. It stopped at frame 223. You can either model in this still frame or jump to the frame 1 by clicking over here. Shift plus left arrow is the shortcut. Because we will be primarily modeling in this lesson, we can remove the timeline editor and get more real estate for modeling. To close an editor, bring the cursor to its edge. And when double-sided arrow appears, right-click. And because I want the top editor to expand, I will select Join Down. Now go to File menu, and under Defaults, select Save Startup File. Select Overwrite. Now every time you open Blender, you'll be welcomed by this clean setup. To test it out, go to File, New, General. There is option to revert back to factory settings, so no worries. I will start modeling the room by making a floor first. So bring the Add menu by pressing Shift plus A. And under Mesh, select Cube. Then we need to squash it to resemble a floor. And we need to do it inside Edit mode. At the moment we are in Object mode. It's possible to do it in Object mode as well. But when you scale your object in Object mode, you get an error message in the bottom. And you have to fix that by applying the scale of the object. It's extra steps which will make the modeling more complicated than it needs to be. So we will edit our model inside Edit mode to avoid the extra step. Inside Edit mode, we have Vertex mode enabled, so you can select vertices of the object. Before scaling, make sure all parts of the cube are selected by pressing A. Then press S to scale down, and Z so it constrains to Z-axis only. Now we have the base of our room ready. But the edges are too sharp, and they need some bevel. There is a bevel tool from which you can do that. But it's a destructive workflow, which means if you use it, you won't be able to adjust its parameters later on. So here comes Bevel Modifier to the rescue. Select the blue wrench icon. Add Modifier. And under Generate, select Bevel. Here you can control the bevel amount. And there is the segment, which now is set to 1, and that's causing a triangular face at the corner. It would have been fine if I were aiming for a low poly look, but it won't be fine in this case, as I will also be adding a modifier called Subdivision Surface next. And that doesn't work well with triangular faces. They will cause weird shading issues. If you increase a segment to 2, there are no triangles. Let me turn on wireframe for clearer view. Again with 3 segments, triangle reappears. So odd number of segment will give you a triangle, and even segment will give you quads. Let's keep this at 2 for now. We have the edges of the model still visible, so we need to smooth the surface. We can start by right-clicking while in Object mode, and select Shade Smooth. But that's not enough. We will also need a modifier called Subdivision Subsurface or Subsurf. This adds more geometry to your model by subdividing the faces. You can immediately see the result it gave. We can make it better by increasing the number to 2. No need to set it to high number if not needed, as that will hinder the performance. Let's keep naming our models in the outliner for better organization. You can double-click on the object in Outliner to name it. Next to create walls, you don't have to separately create new models. You can simply duplicate the base and rotate them to act as walls. So with the base selected, right-click and select Duplicate Objects. It's now automatically in grab mode. You can place it anywhere by left-clicking, and right-clicking will keep it at the original place. Now the model needs to be rotated at right angle on y-axis. So press R to rotate, and then Y to constrain it on the y-axis. Then hold Control key, which will let you rotate in 5-degree increments. Now drag the red arrow to slide it to left. Moving while in perspective view can be a little challenging, so press tilde key and switch to front view. Move the wall up. Also, while still moving, if you hold Control key, the object will move in grid increments. Name it through the outliner. Now tilde key and switch to top view. Shift plus D to duplicate it, and right-click to cancel movements. Then rotate it by pressing R and hold Control for 5-degree increments. No need to press Z since we are already in top view. You can move it by dragging the white circle. Now we need to extend the wall to the left. So enter Edit Mode with Tab. And select the vertices. Here, only the top 2 vertices got selected, not the bottom ones. So hold down Shift key and select them as well. Then drag the red arrow to slide them to left. Back in Object Mode, with the model selected, press F2 on your keyboard. Name the model and hit Enter. Press Shift+A for Add Menu and select Camera from the list. The camera has been added, and you can move it how you will move any other object. To enter camera view, select the camera icon on the right. And to fit the model inside camera frame, we can lock the camera view, and then zoom out, orbit, or pan like normal. Unlock it once done. You can change the camera resolution by going to Output Properties and setting X and Y values. And when camera is selected, you will also see camera properties in the bottom. Here, change the lens type from perspective to orthographic. With this change, objects even which are farther away from camera stays the same size. To zoom in, I can change the scale. And then adjust the model so it fits the frame. This can also be done by changing X and Y values. Take the cursor to the edge of the viewport, and when double-sided arrow appears, right-click. Select Vertical Split. Then move the mouse to left and click once to split the editor. Now in the first editor, I can hide the toolbar simply by dragging it to left or by pressing T. Then take cursor up and scroll to make the hidden menus appear. Turn off overlays and hide the gizmos as well. We will be modeling in the second viewport, and keep the first one solely for the final camera view. If you accidentally exit camera in the first editor, you can simply scroll to left. Under View menu and Cameras, select Active Camera or shortcut numpad 0. It's a good practice to keep saving your project so you don't lose your progress. Go to File, Save As. Name the file. You can choose any folder from the file browser and save the project.